Hey, what's up everybody? It's Flux at fluxwithit.com, and today we're going to talk about some new modules. This is going to be more of like a kind of patch demonstration video, and what I want to show you is here I've got the RF Nomad, which is by Evaton Technologies. This is really interesting module because it's basically a radio receiver in Eurorack form, and right next to it I've got the RYO roll your own VC sequencer with the trigger expander on it. What I'm going to be doing is, this is a pretty minimalistic patch, but it gives you some really interesting sounds. I'm sending basically everything into a make noise phonogene, which is essentially like a tape recorder and sample mangler, and then that's just going into a mixer and then out to our outputs. The RF Nomad is going through a anti-module SOB filter in bandpass mode so that I can kind of tailor out the frequencies that I want. Let's go ahead and just listen to the RF Nomad for a second. Okay, now I'm picking up a radio station on here, and if I increase the CV amount, I can sequence it from the VC sequencer here. Alright, now that is running, that sound output is running into a phonogene. Now if I turn this all the way over to line, I can turn it up here. And I have the VC sequencer, which is currently receiving its clock from a Synthrotech Sequence 8. But it's not receiving just clock, it's actually receiving the CV1 out of Sequence 8. And what that lets me do is I can get really interesting patterns as far as which step is kind of pseudo-randomly triggering right now. And if I really want to tailor in each step, I can just adjust the Sequence 8 to decide what step I want, you know, depending on the pitch that hits. Now, the output of the VC sequencer is going to the tune input on the RF Nomad. Then I have the trigger expander. Each one of these triggers is diode separated so that it will allow you to, you know, kind of jack different triggers into each other without harming it and without causing any kind of problems or resets or anything. So I'm sending one trigger out to the grain shift, or excuse me, gene size, gene shift, okay? One of them is going to trigger the play button on it. And this is going to allow me to get some really interesting chopped up glitchy sounds. I have a drum break on there right now, so let's listen to that. And let's listen to what it's doing. Now if I pause the sequencer, you'll see that it's going to just stop. The sequencer is what's actually making the drum loop play and what part of the drum loop to play by using the gene shift. The gene shift is going to basically skip through different slices of this drum loop. So let's turn that back on and let's hear how they combine together. if we slow it down, and of course, if we want, we can trigger things like the Vactrol on the SOB filter from one of these trigger outputs. Let's play with that gene size a little bit. And of course, with the VC sequencer, I can go and I can manipulate each step. I can decide whether I want it to go forward, reverse. When I'm in VC mode, it's allowing it to jump around the different steps. Let's check out how it sounds when it goes forward. So let's bring it reverse. And let's bring the speed up on that. Let's go back to VC. And we can introduce some wave folding from the SOB. And that's just on the RF Nomad. So one of the great things about the RF Nomad in the way that it works is the tuning range is fairly wide on it. You can get a lot of Morse code on it. You can get some voice on it. This is actually a prototype, so the scale on this one is a little bit different than the production models. The production models tend to get a little bit more voice than this one will. This one will get a lot of Morse code. So with that, if you set your CV amount really low and get to an interesting station, you can get these heterodyne sounds from sending it a sequence that just kind of slightly shift it in and out of tuning to make it sound really cool. So let's see about playing some of that. And essentially what this is doing is it's changing the pitch of that Morse code to us using heterodyning. Now, of course, you can of course use this oscillator as a complex noise source as well. So tuning really low just to get white noise, and then allowing the CV amount to kind of sequence that noise. So together, you know, the RF Nomad with something like the VC sequencer that will allow you to get these interesting randomized pitches and steps, along with sequence triggering, will let you just do some really fun, interesting things. Now, I'm using a dipole style antenna with the RF Nomad. I'm in a basement studio right now, so in order to get proper reception out of the RF Nomad, you want to use something like a dipole antenna, something a little bit larger than just the standard standard whip antenna that you would plug into it. Very easy to build one of these yourself. You can find schematics for those anywhere, and it's just very basic. So stay tuned. I'm going to do some more videos on these, but I just wanted to show you some interesting stuff with the RF Nomad, RYO sequencer, and a module SOB filter, and make noise phonogene. This is Flux of FluxWithIt.com. Peace.